Charles Barkley is one of the most honest TV people in sports. He's a lovable guy, he's a good man. And what he's about to say, I have been saying about black athletes in America for the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years. Most of them never had a job. They never had a job. They come up, maybe they get out of high school with a diploma, but they go to college because they're great athletes. I'm not talking about all blacks, I'm talking about black professional athletes. Chances are they didn't have a father. Chances are their mother had government assistance or welfare. So they've never known a day digging ditches, packing out shelves, working on a construction site, getting dirty, sweating hard. These people never had this affliction. When I think of the dirty jobs I've had to do to pay bills and the crap I had to take dealing with corporate America, and I think of this crap where these athletes never had to do a dirty job, got free college because they could bounce a basketball or play football. Then they go sign for, in some cases, hundreds of millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars to play a game because they could bounce a ball. And they were blessed to be born to come to a height of 6'8", 6'9". You know, they won the genetic lottery for playing sports in a nation that is so perverted. Someone who's loved sports my whole life, I can't watch anymore. When you start paying baseball players $300 million, football players $500 million, I have nothing that I can relate to with these people. Nothing. Any more than I would root as a horseman for a polo chucker between the royals of Europe. It just doesn't interest me. So I'm going to let Charlie go here and rant. And listen to what he says.
First of all, us three, I'm all for us. But I am so lucky and blessed to be able to dribble a stupid basketball. It's given me every single thing in my life. I've never had a real job in my life. I made more money than I thought I could ever make. These guys are exactly in the same boat, even better. Go back in their communities, start some black-owned businesses. Help these kids go to college, get their education. Things like that are really important.
You hear that? So what he just said is what I've been saying for years.
What's happening now?
They don't go to college to have to work. They don't. Over 90% of the American blacks' GDP comes from the government. And that includes everything from welfare to bus driver jobs, municipal bus driver jobs, postal workers. You know why Danny Glover wants to save the post? It's a form of welfare. To quote Reverend Tom Manning, the black pastor, you look into a post office, it's like looking into the bottom of a tar barrel. That's his quote, not mine. I also think that's a little strong, but it should be said. So black entrepreneurship in America doesn't exist. 38 million blacks, 13% of our population, they don't participate in capitalism. You wonder why they slide right over to BLM, which is a communist organization? They're not interested in running a business. I don't know, maybe they don't have the wherewithal to do it. I don't know what it is. But this country can't survive like this. A country that's called a capitalist democracy cannot survive when the government gets paid like communists. No matter what they do, they can't be terminated. Womb to the tomb, benefits in every capacity from healthcare to whatever. And the private sector is completely at the whim of Providence, like this COVID. The government workers get told they're essential. The people who pay their salaries and pay the taxes are non-essential. Let me tell you something, you political scumbags. In a capitalist democracy, we're not your slaves. We're your bosses. We are the only essential people, the people who work and pay taxes. And everyone else on the government free ride, welfare recipients, police, firefighters, bus drivers, postal workers, you work for the government, you're on the fun bus, paid for by every idiot that has a small business or works with the scum of corporate America. Now, they don't teach civics anymore, so people don't know this. They don't teach history, so they really don't know this. The left wing and their socialist agenda created all this disparity. And now the republic is failing, and they blame the very people that didn't cause it. They blame the victims, just like Joe Biden does. He blamed the victims until it was someone else who was victimized by someone else. Their hypocrisy is boundless, only exceeded by their ignorance and their arrogance. In America, you're either a capitalist or you don't belong here. And a capitalist doesn't subsidize monopolies. And in order to be a democratic capitalist society, you must have enlightened people, not dim-witted ninnies who have been miseducated by public communist schools, teaching them in everything not to believe in, but the stuff that matters. So we have athletes with limited IQs, very few college educated stature, and they're telling us how we should think. They'll talk about changing police, they'll talk about changing social structure, but they'll never talk about changing themselves. They'll never teach young black men to not run and fight the police. They won't teach don't do drugs. They just can't. They won't teach young black men if you make a baby, you should get married and raise the kid. They don't. Their failing as individuals is not the responsibility of society. It's not. They say things like man up. They never do. I'm not talking about every single black person in America. I'm talking about the demographic as a whole. As a whole, in general, to generalize. Italians eat pasta. Irish like their beer. Germans like knockwurst. They are general statements of fact. They are not absolutizations, but in general, they are as true could be. We are at a crossroads in this country. We have come down a road, brick by brick, laid by social re-engineered liberals who are anything but honest. And instead of fixing what really needs to be fixed, they make whimsy out of it. Some guy struggling to pay his bills working in a factory every day is not responsible for the underprivileged people who don't want to grow up, get a job, become part of a capitalist society. Because we ain't Sweden or Switzerland. We are not a homogenous society. A Swede is related to every Swede. They're all related. They don't just look alike, they're all related. And they point to countries like Norway. If you, right now, Google a list of the happiest nations in the world, they're all Nordic countries. They're all kin. They don't have a lot of diversity. There's a national ethos, an ethic that they ascribe and live by. They have industry of spirit and mind. Their community is beyond family. They are related. Diversity kills. I'm a Greek. Go look at the history of the Balkans. It doesn't work. We have a term called balkanization. It's what started World War I. Ethnic rivalries. Too many diverse tribes in a small area begets endless wars. That's the history of the world. Well, we're too far down the road from homogeny. But fundamentally, as a society, then without a national ethic, you're dead. And the politics in this country are a joke. Joe Biden, really Joe Biden, a crooked, senile, despicable barnacle of a broken political system. And today he picks a political hack that speaks out of three sides of her mouth. As a black female, she was a prosecutor. Her percentage of locking up young black kids for inane small crimes is off the charts. Listen to what Joe Biden has done over his whole career against poor minorities. And he stands as their champion. Like Hillary Clinton proclaiming she wants to fight for the American worker after she was the biggest part of shipping 60,000 factories from America to China. This is beyond a national tragedy. And I don't know what it takes to fix it.